Howdy do. Good evening. Get set up here. Got my coffee as per usual. Aslan, what's up, man? See you, buddy. Get rid of some of this visual noise. Arts. Oh man, just got back from a pretty good trip. Been gone most of the weekend, and as soon as I came back, we were fighting off hordes, and I mean hordes of wasps. Text, don't forget to pimp the Discord. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, good call. Good call. Still think that's the best way to. Wasps suck, dude. Oh my god. Tell me about it. So we're used to it. I mean, we have them outside and it's no big deal. We kind of deal. And for some reason we started, like, we saw 1 in the house, 2 in the house, whatever. Yay! Tex, thanks for the 4-month resub. Appreciate you, buddy. But what's terrifying is that these things are flying around in the house now. I've killed at least a dozen, minimum a dozen today in the house. Like, I got kids and they're like dive bombing them and stuff. But the most terrifying part is that I don't know why or what this is, like why they choose to do this, but they, like, if they're feeling sick, I guess, or something, they'll go to a spot on the wall and they'll like call for their friends, and like more will attach. Before you know it, there's like 5 or 6 in a ball, like in a clump, and they're all like shivering together, and it's terrifying. It's very unnerving, and they're way up out of reach. They're like way up in the eaves of the house. Oh yeah, it sucks. So clearly there's some kind of nest or something around the house or in the house or whatever. I don't know. Like 6 feet? No. What do you mean? Like in the ceiling? No, we have the vaulted ceiling, so that's like 20 feet up. It's like way up there. Hold on, let me tweet real quick. 5. My very low effort. We are live tweet. Okay, yes, and as Tex was saying, we do have a Discord, and I need to set that up somehow. Oh, hey, our bot worked. Hey, yeah, how about that? Very cool. So I need to create a... Where's the land? Tex, is the landing in the welcome page? Create invite. Okay, so I need to create a generate new link. This is a link that never expires, chat. Join the Discord. Look at me shilling it like a pro. And then I need to add the little Discord button thing. channel. Panels, I guess. Okay, yeah. I don't think I have a little image for Discord, so I'm just gonna say actually, you know what? Go and pirate it. You guys, chat, you wouldn't download a car, would you? Oh my god, the white is just pure washout. Hard. Look at this. Perfect. Save. Perfect. Add image. Done. Look at us go, chat. And then it links to this, and I'm going to say join my Discord. Brand new. I can't even spell right. How about join my brand new Discord? Yeah, does that work? Good call. Edit panel, close it. Guess reload the page. Let's see. Did it not pop up? You guys see it when you're on my Twitch page down below? Oh, what the hell? It like didn't save it. All right, we're gonna run that back. We're gonna run that back. You said looks good. Does it actually show up for you? Emmett, good to see you though, by the way. Because on my end, it's not showing up. I don't see it. Okay, okay. All right, maybe I just did something wrong. Let's run it back. Add you. Done. Links to that. Join my brand new Discord. Exclamation point. Submit. Something went wrong. Please try again, sir. I don't know. Maybe Twitch is having an issue, or maybe I can't do it while I'm live. Maybe that would actually make sense. Maybe it's because I'm live. All right, so I'll try that after chat. So, guess I can set up the cloud bot. I couldn't think of the damn word. Sorry, guys. Fuck Rogers for real. Why is Eth doing up? LOL. Good. It's a great question, Buck. It's a great question. I've got a great answer for you. Give me just a minute and I will let you know. All right, so I'm adding a timer. I have this on a separate panel. I don't think you can. Yeah, you can. We're gonna call this one Discord. I'm gonna have this little thing like auto spam the Discord every now and then. Join my new Discord. Since for whatever reason I can't add it to my stuff. Chat, what's a good interval? Like every 30 minutes? Interval like how many minutes between spams? 30s, 15? Texas 15. What do you guys think? 20? I'm gonna do, let's do like 22. Because I think I have a 15 and a 20, and I don't want them like right on top of each other. So let's do like 22, just so it's like sporadic. Yeah, I have a 15, a 19, and a 22. Okay, why is Eth doing the up? Why is Eth doing the up? Just noticed this, guys. I was not watching this previously. Yeah, I don't like that, says Tex. And what he's referring to is this is the funding. And this means a lot of people went long expecting things to go up. Which happens a lot. Like like individual pop-ups like that are kind of non-events, but when a lot of people are betting on a certain direction, it doesn't go very well a lot of times. So like, for example, this is a lot of people were short for a long amount of time, and it was just fake out to the downside after fake out to the downside, but it continued up. Now what's interesting here is funding will not make a top. Like, it will short term, this being the funding will tend to dictate what's going to happen in the short term, but it will never just macro reverse. And this is as macro an uptrend as you're going to get. So even though this is ugly, and we could get some kind of pullback, it's not going to like macro reverse it. Something else might, but that on its own won't. Now I did reference, and again, we'll get into this here more in a minute. I did reference Josh and his "Do you bear leave the head and shoulders below the yearly pivot? If yes, retweet. If no, tag I am Nomad, who's an OG." I'll kind of get into that in a minute. And he's also suggesting that Ethereum's going to do the same thing. I respect the hell out of Josh. So, I mean, even though this is kind of counter to what I suspect is going to happen, gotta take it serious. Gotta take it serious. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, if you sub, here are all my very cool emotes that I have set up now. Very proud of these. Especially the Doge one is the brand new one. So if you're a tier 1 sub and you hadn't been here in a while, you can see that. I like that. Okay, so I want to explain two things about Josh's tweet. And this applies to both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bucky, this will apply. This will be like what you're asking about. So both Ethereum and Bitcoin are painting. I think it's this one. They're painting head and shoulders patterns in some way. Yeah, here we go. All right, so shoulder, head, shoulder. And the insinuation would be that it comes down to here. And the like additional insinuation is that this would break to the downside. And a head and shoulders pattern, you measure from the neckline, which is this, the neckline to the peak of the head. So neckline to head, and then that's your extension target to the downside. So that's like traditional TA. That's how that works. And that's what Josh is talking about. Here's my beef with what Josh is. And I got to say one other thing. So that's the first thing he's pointing out. And then he mentioned this, that's just below the yearly pivot. If you look at Bitcoin with yearly pivots on, and that's what this is something I do look at. I don't stream about it a lot because it's a yearly line in the sand. So it's hard to keep up with a lot. Like it's there, nothing changes. So it's not worth talking about a whole lot. But he's right in the fact that we did just slap the yearly pivot. Now, let me briefly explain what these are. A pivot line is a mathematical calculated model that begins on January 1st of each year. So this is 2018, 2019, 2020. And the green line that with the P beside it means the pivot. And what this is saying is like based on the preceding price action, that like the fair market value, like a good, nice average price point is that right there. And it's basically just an average from what happened in the prior year. Or like a portion of the year. I think it's about half the year. But anyway, I forget the exact calculation, but it's from what happened leading up to it. So that's 2018. Here's 2019. Same kind of deal, like based on this price action, that's your nice average. 2020 begins based on the, again, same price action. Here it is. So you see that the pivot has like gone upwards twice in 2 consecutive years, which is a big deal because while this one is higher and then it went down, sure. I mean, we did have an exponential bull run that peaked. So the following years will be lower. But now that we're leading off and potentially about to start another bull run, we have these yearly pivots that are one's slightly higher than the other. Okay, so all that to be said, the R1 and the R2 there's S1, which is support, and R, which is resistance. So the R's are gonna like sequentially they go up. You're like 1, 2, 3, 4. and then below is S1, S2, S3, S4. You know, there's different lines that can be calculated. Now I only have the 1s and 2s turned on. I don't have anything beyond. You can go up to like as much as you want, but the extension target, which is the R2 on the yearly pivots, has been hit. And that is, to a lot of big boys, to a lot of whales, that's a solid take profit line. And that's absolutely a fair thing to do. Like if you had big money in and you entered on the pivot line or below, and this is, we're talking like hedge fund level money, and you were looking for an exit, let's say you had to exit for tax reasons or whatever, this would actually be a pretty good exit. So when Josh is making bearish tweets, the things he's saying is actually pretty reasonable. Now, I don't like it because I'm personally not feeling very bearish right now. But he brings up, you know, the two good points. One's that there's a head and shoulders forming, and the second is that we're having a pullback at a very, very macro level. And we can get, if anybody wants like how this is set up in the charts later, if you have your own trading view and you want to do this, there's a little bit of nuance to setting it up. I'm happy to go over that later, but just for now, for this discussion point, that's what he's talking about, and that's what he's showing here. And he could be right. He could be absolutely right that this is the signal for like some kind of big macro pullback. Now, let me get into my beef with that and why I have an issue with that. Most of the tops, most of the macro tops that I have seen. Let's go back to, here we go. Drop this to like the 4 hour. So when we had our prior bear market, like the bear market where we fell below 4K for 6 months and people were just buying that up. When we had our big macro exponential bull run, which I'm arguing is that like what we're basically doing right now. Hold on, see, we're essentially, let me see if I can squeeze in. I can't do it on the 6 hour, maybe on the 12 hour. What I'm trying to show is that what happened as we broke out of our prior bear market is very similar to what we're seeing right here. And the way this thing ended, okay, the way this ended was we had so much buying velocity, like it could not be sustained. So many buyers were coming in that it was crazy. Like on this final 12-hour shove, let's say the last two. So in the final day, price went up 18% in the last day alone. And that ended up being, you know, the top. Same thing went with the 20K bull run. When we finally hit 20K, I mean, you guys remember it. The last few days, that's 4 days. We went up 68% in 4 days to find the top. Like that cannot be sustained. And then when we broke out of the prior bear market, it was a very similar deal. The last 2 or 3 days was like 16 to 20%. Now let's look at where we have been, what we have done. We haven't had anything like that. We've had like steady gains, which has been great. 5%, 10%, 5%, 7%. Let's even back it up. 9% across 2 days. That was pretty good. But that, I mean, what we're talking about as far as percent gains, we haven't come close to what any of our prior big macro tops have been. And so I'm trying to use the examples that do not include COVID. I hope you realize that. So in tops being like a very clear pullback. This white line was the prior all-time high. So this was, you know, we tapped it, we fell. Up here, the 20K bull run that followed, smacked it and fell, broke out of the bear market, went up. I mean, all these things, this is what I'm trying to portray. Like if you were going to artistically draw how a bull run ends, macro or medium term, it almost always ends with major buying pressure that cannot be sustained. And I haven't seen that. And the way that this has gone, like even, let me get rid of that. The way that this is behaving, it makes me think there's still more in the tank. And that I could be eating my words, you know, a week from now, but it's just, I have not gotten that very clear, like momentum signal, hey, time to exit because we haven't gone up 15 to 20% in a single, like in 2 days, and then shot back down. So I suspect we're still on track to slap the prior all-time high. That's my personal expectation. Now, for that to happen, Josh has to be wrong, which is like, oh shit, even me saying that, because I respect the hell out of Josh, and he's right that this is a very clear potential head and shoulders. This last shoulder has not finished, so something could happen to blow this pattern, or what you could have, which is very bullish, is a failed head and shoulders, which would, it's a very strong continuation pattern. So what we may see that, you know, in the coming day or so. I don't know, but that's my 2 cents. Now, as for why is Ethereum going crazy, here's your answer. This is what we've been watching since the 300 level, Bucky. Wyckoff accumulation never lies, especially on a macro time frame over 2 years. It's never wrong. I just realized the little thing that popped up says join my Discord, but doesn't have a link. Sorry, guys. All right, so next time that comes up, it'll actually be there. Okay. So there's your very simple answer. Is that, you know, since this breakout, which is when we started talking about macro Wyckoff accumulation, since this breakout from the 2 to above 300, we've been watching for some kind of steady grind all the way up to 10K, 5 to 10K. So this has been our expectation all along. So, you know, also going according to plan. The big question is going to be what happens when, not if, when Bitcoin pulls back, because it will happen. Pro streamer, he has all the skills. So how, yeah, so as far as how high for Ethereum, 10K is my particular expectation. Here's why, Bucky. Get this, and if you haven't put this together, if you're talking to people, this is just a fun kind of like crypto dinner conversation if you like to nerd out like I do and have these talks. Look at Bitcoin, and I know you're gonna like kind of roll your eyes and be like, yeah, Bitcoin, Wyckoff accumulation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right, dude. But not just that, not just do the patterns match, but look at the price levels. So this is Bitcoin before its 20K run, right? Like put that into perspective here. Bitcoin had, let's call it about a $200 to $150 floor. But what was most important was this 300 level. Once it fell below it, it spent its entire accumulation phase below it until it finally broke up. So 300 being the important level. And it went on to go to 20K, right? This is what we all know. Let's look back at Ethereum. Ethereum has the same floor, like the same strong price level with the same kind of accumulation going on below it. So 300 was the magic level and 2 years of accumulation below it, and now it's breaking up above it. So it is not only is the footprint of it almost exactly the same, but it is also the same price points, which is like, holy shit, that's pretty wild. All right, Dantarctica. Wait. Like 10K in like 5 years or in this cycle? I'm saying in this cycle, in this particular cycle. So, and again, if you're new to this concept, Dantarctica, it's because of this. Where are we? This Wyckoff accumulation. This right here. The reason I keep harping on it is because this is a macro pattern. Whenever you see this, and I'm talking about this right here, this is the sign of whales entering a position that you like, more money than God kind of stuff. Like, and collectively, not just like one whale or two, but like as a whole. There are so many whales that own so much of this particular asset. I could show the same pattern across anything, and I'm talking about like gold, Amazon stock, whatever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, you could have this same pattern. Tony, what's up, man? You could have this same pattern, and what all it does is it's showing you that the whales are entering like hard. And what true Wyckoff accumulation is, the beauty of it is, by the time you have broken out, and like understand what I'm saying here, by the time you have broken out of Wyckoff accumulation, You will never go back below this line. Like, I'm like, I didn't mix words. Like, you will never go below it again, ever. If it's the real deal. So sometimes you have some fake outs and it'll break back down and it wasn't what you thought it was. But if this is the big if, this sign of strength, this consolidation right here, this is a big fucking deal. And so this is what we're watching with Ethereum. Does not mean that it can't pull all the way back down to, you know, whatever this line is, this 350, 330. But if we start breaking back below 300 and it closes, then this was not at all what we thought it was. And it's going to be something horrific. But we can't trade what ifs. We can't trade, you know, fantasy situations. What this is telling us is that we will never be below 300 Ethereum, at least for this cycle, and maybe never. Because the people down here bought so much, they control the flow. Like, you will never sell enough to overwhelm the ready buyers and push down into here. You won't. You can't. And that's what this pattern is telling you on a macro timescale. That's why it's so crazy. Like, it's so important. All right, Atani, again, thank you for the sub. Buck Rogers, for real, right? But ETH and Bitcoin are not the same. Apples and oranges plus ETH 2.0. No. Okay. Bucky, you are right. And I am 100% a Bitcoin maximalist. And I will never say that Ethereum's going to replace Bitcoin. I'm never. Like, so don't get me wrong. I know that. I understand that. But what I am saying is that the greater market has spent 2 years positioning in Ethereum, and they are expecting a macro uptrend. Now, whether that hits 10K, because with it, the way this Wyckoff stuff works is they'll start giving signals when they're near the top. And it is not like I can just look at a crystal ball and say, oh, well, Bitcoin went 200 to 20,000, therefore Ethereum will go 200 to 20,000. Like, it doesn't really work that way. We have to look for the top signs. And we will monitor that, you know, as we get there. But the chart here, which is way more important than any of the news events, forget the fundamentals. What the actual technical analysis is saying is that big boys have positioned in this price level and they are moving it up. So whether it is worth that and whether you can justify that it demands that kind of value, I'm not arguing that at all. What I am saying is that some serious money is behind this and they will mark it up. They will get their gains, and you can, you know, try to stop them or tell them it's not worth it or try to convince them or whatever, you know, go for it, but you will not win. You will lose. So you can trade this and make more Bitcoin, which is kind of like why I'm sharing this information, because that's my plan. I am using this to make more Bitcoin. Or you can, you know, be upset about it or scream that Vitalik's a douchebag or whatever, you know, like a lot of crypto Twitter, that's kind of how they choose to handle it, which is ridiculous. But, you know, is what it is. It's along the same lines of Litecoin USD, which we've been talking about since probably in here, that this big macro downtrend always breaks right around the time that Bitcoin attacks its prior all-time high. Now, it's basically front run that event. See, before, Litecoin did not break out until Bitcoin hit its prior all-time high. This time, Litecoin's broken out firmly over multiple days. Oh, let me get rid of some of this visual noise. Okay. Firmly broken out of its downtrend well before Bitcoin has hit its prior all-time high. So I don't know what that means. This is the uncharted territory side of things, so we'll see. But I see a lot of the same patterns here, and I do see there's something else I want to get into in a minute, but let me check up here. Buck Rogers clapping. I love it. We're the barnacles on the whale's ass trying just to get a little. Yes. And if you can make your peace with that, you can make a lot of money. And like, if you can kind of put your, hold on, let me get my camera is so shitty. I need a new camera. If you can put your biases aside, and even saying that Bitcoin is the best thing ever, like, which it is, but even that is a bias. But if you can set that aside and just see what the trends are and trade the trends and put all your gains into your bias, which is kind of the way I do things, that's great. You know, do it. But the trends are gonna, what's gonna happen is gonna happen, whether you believe in it or not. Like that's the point. That's the whole reason I'm here to talk about a lot of this stuff. We can identify some of these trends, make some money, flip it back to Bitcoin, we win. The end. And then hold the Bitcoin till the next top of the next cycle, we double win. Easy game. So would you hold ETH over Litecoin? I don't know. I think that's tough. Litecoin, when it broke out, it pulled a 100x from its lows to its highs. This is on Bitfinex, but if I charted on Coinbase, it was like 120x. Ethereum did really well too, but it did not. It existed like right at, like its first cycle was last cycle, so it's hard to compare. So things don't tend to do 100x's over and over. They'll tend to do like 100, then 30, then 10, then 5. Charlie Lee's listening. I actually haven't seen Charlie on. I don't know if he even knows I do this. It'd be funny to see him though. Anyway, Ethereum, its first cycle was last cycle. Like this is its history. And so the fact that it pulled like a 600x or something crazy, I don't know that I can compare. So it's kind of a gamble. What you have in your favor for Ethereum is this Wyckoff accumulation. Big dicks entered, full stop. Litecoin, like a 3.5-year consolidation pattern breaking out. You have two price targets, two immediate price targets. Okay, the first is that most recent high, like the top touch, and then which is what, like 140. And then the second is the prior all-time high, which is about 350. Well, depending on your exchange, let's call it 360, just to, for shits and giggles. But then you start getting to stuff above it, and I think like a pretty fair price target for Litecoin is around $2,000, and I get that by just very simply, if you look at the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio. We're gonna what if this to death, right? So I recognize that, but that's kind of how trading goes. You have to make some contingencies. So if Litecoin returns to somewhere in here by the top of the next Bitcoin cycle, that puts us around this like 0.01 level. And quick TI-83 math, 0.01 of, let's say 100,000. Let's say Bitcoin hits 100,000. That's $1,000 Litecoin. I personally think we're going to about 200,000, give or take. So 0.01 of 200,000 would be 2,000. I think that's absolutely within the realm of fairness. So 2,000, let's just smell test that real quick. How does 2,000 sound like compared to its prior high? Well, it went from a high of, let's say 10. I know it was a little less than 10, but like 10 to 380, that's a 38x from like high to high. So to go from 380 to 2,000 is only, what is that? $5.2. So from there to there and then there to there, it's only like a 5x. So I think it's absolutely possible Litecoin hits 2,000. So let's look at percent gains then. Just from our like, okay, if you entered Litecoin here, that'd be about a 23x from current price. And Ethereum, if you got into Ethereum today and you ran that up, you would get about a 16x. So like on paper, just this is total crystal balling, total bullshit crystal balling, right? So don't sue me if like all of this is wrong, but just total bullshit crystal ball. Litecoin would give you more gains based on paper napkin math. Okay. Tell me F, you bastard. Tanya, you need to keep up. That's like literally what we've been talking about. All right, I posted, oh, in the chat. Okay, cool. Win 200K into this cycle. Yeah. 2,000 for Litecoin this cycle or one day. This cycle, Tantarctica, you're like, no, I don't believe any of this shit. This is crazy. You got to remember, dude, last cycle, it went from $3 to $400. I mean, this is wild. Tell me targets. I'll give you targets. Hang on. So when I say cycle, here let's talk about macro Bitcoin. Let's talk about macro Bitcoin. Okay, there's two ways people look at this chart. This is Bitcoin since its infancy, minus a few years where it's kind of like that. And actually, the early years, Bitcoin traded for the price of the electricity, which I think is really cool. It's kind of history. So that's funny. That's before it actually started trading. So here's what you notice about Bitcoin. You'll find that when people talk about like what the macro targets are and what's going to happen on a macro scale, there's two camps. There's two versions of people talking. Holy shit, the chat. All right, hang on. I'll catch up, and let me finish this thought on Bitcoin. You have the first camp says, oh, well, Bitcoin made lots of gains, but it's slowing down. Actually, let me make this real clear. So there's like the first cycle, and then the second cycle, and then the third cycle. And so they're painting this picture of like, oh, we're slowing down. And so therefore, the cycles take longer. This peak to that peak was longer. That peak to that peak was longer. That's like kind of their MO. Here's the second camp, which is they're not actually very vocal, but this is something that I've come to really believe. So time will tell. We don't know. This is kind of a crystal ball, again, side of things. But each cycle, in my opinion, is dictated by the halving. The halving itself dictates the start of the bull run. And a lot of people don't believe that. There's actually a huge group of people that do not believe that. But in my eyes, it's very clear that the halving propels us by affecting the supply side every day moving forward. It propels us to a very immediate new bull run. And I think we're starting to see that right now. Now, what I personally see also is that it is important to have a top and a accumulation period before the halving. We have our peak, we have our accumulation, and then we have halving. We have our peak, we have our accumulation, we have our halving. We have our peak, we have our accumulation, we have our halving. And I believe that this cycle will be no different. So this is where I would argue with a lot of different people. I think we will peak somewhere by Christmas of 2021. And I am on, that's on my Twitter. I think we'll be around 200 to 250, somewhere in there. And I think we'll have a nice bear market before we actually begin the next uptrend. These are my beliefs that I hold very firmly here. Okay, let me catch up on chat. Sorry, guys. That's fine. My parents own ETH and I own Litecoin, so between us we'll make bank. Yeah. Bitcoin to 500,000 this year. Why not both? LOL. No, I don't think we'll see 500. I think you'll read stories. I think you'll read articles about saying we're going to 500,000 or 400,000 or something like that. Something to get you to buy the top. You've always got to have something that makes you want to buy this or this or this, right? There's always some news event. And I think that'll be a big deal. Yeah, Citibank saying 300,000. I think that's kind of sprinkling the bait to get you to be right here and buying. Somebody's got a all-in slam market buy right there. Maybe it's you. Okay? Because let me tell you this much. The guys who bought in here are the ones selling in here. Okay? So by the time you're horny and excited and your parents are calling you and your grandma's asking you about it, you missed it. Because the whales we are riding we're in here. And by the time they're done and they're ready to exit, they're the ones feeding you and the other dumb money and me. Like, I'm not just saying like you chat, I'm saying everyone, all of us, like little guppies. They're feeding us these stories that like, oh, we're going to like $500,000. It's going to be great, guys. Buy now. And meanwhile, they're selling, but they're over here talking to CNN about how it's the best thing in the world. And then the opposite is true on the bottoms. They're sitting down with CNN like, oh no, this Bitcoin thing's bullshit. You guys are going to lose all your money. And then they're like over there just buying as much as they can. So you got to learn the psychology of these cycles. Okay. Thank God for Jack, because I would panic sell every 1% drop and miss all the 10% increases. Good, Dan. Good, buddy. I'm glad you appreciated that. I hope I'm helpful to you. Wild hearing someone say their parents own crypto. I still have to explain it to mine. Yeah, mine. I've been telling mine to buy since like sub 3,000 or sub 4,000, and mine actually said, my dad said, I'll buy if it gets below 5,000. Okay, and he said it back in here. It fell. He was in the hospital for COVID. He got out 2 weeks later and the price recovered and he wasn't interested. He's like, no, if I can't buy under 5,000, I'm not interested. So he never bought. And here we are. Here we are. All right. You know, if I were really thankful for Jap, you'd sub, just saying, oh, there you go. Turk, I appreciate you pushing it. Took a lot of convincing, but I get them to buy ETH around 410. Got you. Sunshine pumpers. ETH, you bastard. Okay. Jesus Christ. Atani, I know it's late your time. All right. Atani, here are how these things work. We have the prior all-time high, which is going to be a big fucking deal. 14,000. 14,000. 1,400. Talks to me about Litecoin for an hour. Makes me say, well, buy Litecoin, dude. I'm telling you right now, there's a more bigger upside. We just did the math. No, but that's fine. It's fine. Let's talk about it. If I had to price target, these are my levels. These would, let me drop that. Okay, these would be my levels. And I could probably even slap one in right here. You know what? Let me make this easier. I can do this this horizontal ray thing. There we go. And it'll show, so the price kind of shows up over here. We're that guy, and basically where it is right now. Okay, so the way a lot of these stairs work. Oh, thanks, Buck. Appreciate you, buddy. The way these stair steps work is this is ugly as fuck. So don't pay attention to ETH's history. Instead, look at like how Bitcoin handled its prior run. Let's go back to the 1 day. Okay, so here's Bitcoin coming out of its accumulation period. And it breaks up, consolidates, breaks up, consolidates, breaks up, consolidates. Like this is the story. This is how things will go. So if Ethereum is somewhere between its breakout, like it's kind of like in this period between that and its all-time high, you'll either get this very clear, nice parabolic increase that like you can actually chart and see day after day after day grinding above, or you're gonna have these breakups and consolidation. So what you're doing is you're building stairs. It's like building stairs in your house. You have to have a lot of this 10% range wiki bullshit before you break up, and the price that acts as a floor for the next breakup. Now you've got another floor, and this is what you have all the way up. So we're building these little stair steps. So back to Ethereum, I would expect no different. So we've broken above this, maybe a little love, maybe even a little higher before we start consolidating. But I think this orange line is a key take profit level for all the number of touches that you can count going back in history. This is where price tends to change hands. That's what these price levels show you, and that's what I'm trying to mark in orange here. So we're basically at the first, like, this is going to be interesting level, and then we have a couple more. So the next ones would be 750, 1,000, and then the prior all-time high. And you can see these. I was lining them up based off of market activity, like where people, you know, this consolidated a lot before it went up. This wicked down and touched it. There was some days spent grinding there. This was like a flip, a macro reversal. So these are very interesting points to me. And I would expect a lot of interest in this point, in this level right here. By a lot of interest, I mean a lot of people will sell and others will buy. So you have a chart that goes up, down, up, down, up, down, consolidation. So I think what's funny is these are very clear psychological levels too. 750, 1,000, 1,400, and I didn't do that on purpose. I just went back to where the price activity was. That's just human nature to pick a nice round number. All right, Streamlabs is just like spitting shit out everywhere. Sorry, guys. LOL, Bitcoin is like $40 more on Coinbase right now. Yeah, so it's very interesting to watch Coinbase versus, say, Bitfinex, and you can see when Coinbase starts to have higher price premiums, it's a sign of two things. One, Wall Street, but more so just retail. I couldn't think of the word retail. You and I are retail. We don't have hedge fund money. We're not moving Wall Street money, but we do have money, and our money as a group is very powerful. And so you can watch these retail, just like Litecoin went to 420 on Coinbase, but like 300, 360, 350 on lots of other exchanges. So the retail exchanges will go crazy. What would cause ETH to drop drastically in your opinion? Interaction, Bitcoin, says Atani. Bitcoin drop, says Buck. ETH drop. Yes, so I think now when you say let's kind of clarify real quick here, Buck. I think we're due for an Ethereum drop any day now. And by drop, I mean like a serious pullback, a major percent of the previous move. So let's say the last move was, you know, from 300 to 600. That's 300 bucks. I bet we pull back 150 bucks. Like I suspect we have some pulling back to do, because we're getting too ahead of our skis here. We need to grind like big macro support levels. In the weekly, the 20 weekly on Ethereum. Wow, I didn't realize it was this high, which I bet we do not break below, because if we go back and we look at the 20 weekly on Bitcoin, damn it. We look at the 20 weekly on Bitcoin, you'll see the last up run, which Ethereum is starting to mimic. The last markup did not break the 20 weekly moving average. It always came back and like kind of slapped it. So I suspect we'll do the same. And right now that 20 weekly is all the way at 400 bucks. Damn. That's moving quick. That's moving real quick, guys. That's crazy. So to answer your question, I pull back to the 20 weekly, anything. Like we could wake up in that way at what time of day. So it's like literally any time. I suspect the catalyst for that will be Bitcoin. Absolutely. I think it'll be Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is due for a big nasty pullback, it's going to be the same deal. The 20 weekly needs to be touched. It needs its 11. Okay, it's called the WAP line for a reason. That's where you buy. That's where you margin long. In my opinion, could be completely wrong, but that's what we're going to be watching for. And that line right now is at 13,000. Damn, we're out of the 12s now. So a drop to 13 is absolutely reasonable. Totally reasonable. Pentalga peeking his head in with the... Is that Simon or Lewis? I always forget. That's Lewis, right? I always forget them. So, Buck Rogers, let me tell you this much. I've been pretty vocal about this. I suspect we are going to touch the all-time high and then nuke like you've never seen before. Because that's what happened last time. And I think a lot of big boy money is just copying what happened last time. Or at least they expect what happened last time, and something similar may happen. Or something completely different may happen. Like I know Bitcoin Schmidtcoin, he's pretty vocal about a completely different scenario. So it's not like I'm God here. I don't know. But he is actually expecting a slow grind and then a breakup and consolidation above the prior all-time high. And he's basing that, reasonably so, on how gold recently broke its prior all-time high, like this year. Because when it broke its all-time high, you see this was the prior all-time high, it exploded above it about 20% and then just kind of danced around until it came back and found its support. But it wasn't like it pulled back 40%, like some may have expected. So I think that's completely reasonable. Because like I said, a lot of my top indicators are about momentum, about buying too hard, too fast. And on the lower time frames, like the 4 hours and stuff, we haven't done that. We are not buying too hard, too fast. We are very slowly buying and moving the needle up. So we'll see what happens. Simon, so would you set your buys for Ethereum and USD? If I was looking for like a point where I could long and tell my kids about it, it would be on the 20 weekly. The 20 weekly EMA. Today that sits at about $400. So you want to front run it a little bit because you can see it gets wicked. Like sometimes it doesn't even make it all the way down. So get about 10% above it. So 420 to 430. Like 420 would be such a meme. That would actually make sense. Oh God, is it laughing? I'm laughing. Lagging? Is the stream? I've crashed like consistently. How are we doing? It says quality is good. Are we live? For 2069. Okay, so you at least heard that. Did the stream crash again or no? Stream? No, you're good. Okay, thanks guys. Yeah, so ETH 420. Way better now. Okay, thanks guys. I don't know what happened. Sorry guys. 420.69. Exactly. You nailed it. You nailed it. Fine, but each time you talked about Litecoin, it lagged. Tawny. Somebody donate some Litecoin to a Tawny. Okay. Only lagged on the Moon ETH talk. Yeah. Sorry, Tawny. Tawny, you should sell it all now. That was my takeaway. Here, Atani, this is for you, buddy. So you will quit bothering me. There you go. Save that. Show your kids. You were there. Papa Jack told you. By the way, chat, never forget, I started the stream by showing you how Josh predicted very reasonably a nasty ass breakdown. Could still happen. But I don't believe it. Not fucking leaving. That's kind of how I feel about my my longs right now. Not closing them. Not doing it. Oh God. The delay is long? Sorry, guys. I don't know what that's about, dude. Sell all and buy Litecoin. Why are you doing the not like this thing? By the way, guys, my Bitcoin mug. I believe it's Christmas time. Almost. Almost. Because the Horde thinks it will dump at all-time high, and I don't think it will happen. The opposite always happens of what the Horde thinks. You're right. You're right. But again, remember what I am watching for personally is for like a stupid amount of buying leading up to the prior all-time high. So like on short time frames, I'm talking about like on the 1 hour. So I can actually tell you. Let's say we went from where we are right now and slapped the prior all-time high. Let's say we broke it just a little bit, like to 21,000. That would be enough for me to sell. I would sell. I'd close out right there. But we're talking about over the next, like within a day. If it just keeps slow grinding, I don't feel the same way. It has to be like a massive, like a crazy up candle. And then I change my mind. Then I'm no longer bullish. So yeah, you could absolutely be right. Can you call the Bitcoin support line and have it drop a bit, please? Can you call the Bitcoin support line and have it drop a bit, please? Oh, you mean so you can buy some more? No, not yet. Not yet. This 4-hour 20 EMA is actually really interesting. I hadn't really paid attention to it, but you can see it never really gets more than probably, what is this, like a few percent away, like 2% away to the downside. So almost every time it breaks is a buy signal. And it's just slow grinding up. That is not bearish to me, guys. What is it, like the argument that the bears have, and you can't tell them they're wrong because they're not, is that we have two, like a single lower high. So we had our highs and then we have our lower highs. And that is by definition bearish. but nothing, we haven't really broken the structure of the uptrend, and that's more important to me. Uh, 21.2, and I'm 100% out. Yeah, Alka is king of momentum stuff. So I mean, he's not fucking around. If you see a tweet from Alka, hey, link your tweet, your Twitter, by the way. And guys, I'm not kidding. He runs a fleet of bots like for me that he developed, and he knows what's up. So pay attention to him. If he says it's time to sell, it's time to sell. Look at Eth on the 15 minutes. Because I was talking about it. So, Atani, this goes back to what I was talking about. We're building stairs. Go up, we build some more. We go up, we can retest it. We go up. Now, here's what I've noticed, guys, and you take this home. Tell your girlfriends. Actually, you may not want to tell them. You know what I'm saying? You may not want to tell them. But I'm seeing a pattern develop both on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, you guys ready for this? We have a break to the upside. We have consolidation. We have new highs. We have a break back. We have a steady bleed out. We have a sell-off. And we run it back. What I'm suggesting is that this is identical to this. Okay, soak it in for a minute. Soak it in for a minute. Move to the upside. New high. Hold on, you know what's actually like usually pretty useful? Okay, let's do like A. B. And like the big key components. Okay, so this is what I'm watching to see if this is going to continue. Broke back, bleed off. R runner 144 is Alka's Twitter. Yeah, let me show you the last time Alka's momentum stuff said to sell. This is no bullshit. His like he called me. We're buddies in real life, and he's like, "Hey, I got the signal. The bat signal was this. It was that candle, and I think my exit was like 13.1, and then he got even tighter, 13.2, 13.3. That's the last time, and that was from this move. Okay, so that was you guys want to follow him because I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt. This is real deal. He's the real deal. So last time we knew to sell was right there. We've been kind of slowly accumulating since then, and we're waiting for that same kind of signal here, but we haven't gotten it. I've not gotten it. Now it's different. And I don't go into the details of that because that's kind of his baby, and if he wants to get into it one day, he can. But I don't want to like reveal any secrets or anything. All right, so as Josh pointed out, though, this could be a big macro head and shoulders. Could break to the downside. Shall see. All right, moving target, but if they hit 21.2 tonight, it will pull back hard. I doubt they will do that on a Sunday night, but I'm worried about Josh's call as well. 13.6 was the highest sell. I got in. Yeah. It's disgusting. You're an animal. Okay, let's see. Join my new Discord. Yeah, by the way, we have a Discord group, and I'll be starting to put some charts in there and that through the week. Of course, ETH pumps. Why we want it to drop. What do you mean we want it to drop? Who wants it to drop? I'm still in my longs. I don't want it to drop. In fact, I think if Ethereum just moons, which I'm almost getting that spidey sense that it might. Because when you start getting these little mirror image patterns, it's a bot entering, and what they're doing is they're playing games and they're driving the price up to drive it back down so that they can trick you to sell and they'll buy right there. It's like the full intention of this entire move is to get you to sell in there so that they can buy it. And they're doing it over and over, and eventually they run out of like tricks. Like people are like, "Oh, I'm on to you. You're full of shit." And it kind of explodes. So it would be very interesting to see if Bitcoin explodes as Ethereum is making this little move. What do you want me to... Alka, you said you can show that. What do you want me to show? The rainbow? Or something different? Yeah, so because of the stuff Alka does with the bots, it's actually really interesting. He is watching, he's monitoring when the whales are intentionally slowing things down. He calls it tapping the brakes. But basically, like, if a move is starting to get like lots of momentum, you'll see a whale come in and be like, "Nope, fuck you," and so okay, then it kind of goes sideways, and then it starts to build momentum. They're like, "Nope, fuck you," and so like what you get is this kind of like ebb and flow. Versus instead of just going like boom. Drops are good for better positions though. Yeah, I mean that's true. What I want first though, because I'm very greedy bastard, very greedy. I want to see a sell signal. I want to see the, hey, you guys need to get out because this thing's about to come crashing down, and then buy 40% lower on spot with like not a small amount of money. That's what I'm after. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm in it for. Yeah, our entries were around 4K, Alka. But then I have a ton of my entries were actually 9K because that's just when I sold my house and how things go. Atani talking shit in the chat. At Pantauga, don't make me pray about your restaurants. I want a nonstop rocket to the moon. What a threat, dude. Drop it like it's Dow. Okay, let me show you, chat, because I know some of you guys probably weren't here last time. Let me give you a first-hand view of what can happen in these sell-offs. Okay, this is, I think you guys will enjoy this. So I'm going to take you back in time. You are in a time machine right now. Okay, you're going back in time, and you are back when Bitcoin was $900. Look at this, $900. How exciting! Everyone's excited. You're like, oh, is it going to the moon? What is it? You're calling your mom. You're like, Mom, get in, please buy some. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit play, and it's going to add candles to the chart as though we're watching time in kind of like a sped up motion. So these are 4-hour candles, okay? Not days, not weeks, 4 hours. We're going to watch what happened as price grinded to its prior all-time high, and then what happened the moment it touched the all-time high. And I want you to see this and visualize this with what could happen today. Okay, and if that scares you, then you have too much at risk. And if it doesn't scare you, then you're perfect. Yeah, keep it on. But let's see what happens. Whoa. All right, I'm gonna slow this down just a little. Okay. So these are 4-hour candles. Price is going. Everyone's excited. Holy shit, we're doing it. This is the real bull market. It's not a failed experiment after all. We're at 950. We're still going. Oh my God, we hit 1,000. We broke 1,000. The prior all-time high was about $1,100. You'll see it as a white line here in a minute once it starts going that way. 1,200. Sorry. Do you see this? Imagine living that. Imagine waking up, checking your phone, getting the alerts on TradingView, whatever. In 2 4-hour periods. It was really, I think it was only about 4 hours in total because it just spanned across 2 different candles here. But this is a sell-off, 25% in about a 4-hour period. Now I know it shows 2 4-hour candles, but it was only about 4 hours. But just imagine, was gold parity then? Yes, great point, Bucky. I forgot all about that. That's 100% right. So it was right at the price of gold. It was a prior all-time high. Like you want to talk about like news-driven FOMO runs, which I'm not seeing now. This is, again, I'm not seeing that quite yet. We might wake up to it tomorrow and, you know, Bank of America has implemented Bitcoin in their app or something, like God knows. But I haven't really seen this kind of bullish excitement yet, so I'm hesitating to sell. But it's just not rule out the chance that we could wake up and it does that. Now let's see what it goes on to do, because it actually makes a new low and then that's it. Okay, so let us take this into consideration. We see this and you say to yourself, how the hell could anyone play this? The only way you'd play this is if you sold at or near the prior all-time high, and if you bought somewhere down here. But how would you know to buy there? Well, my good sir, this is why God gave us the 20-week EMA. Oh, damn it. Of course, I don't have that on that particular chart, but I can just show you on here. The 20-week EMA. And you can see this little sell-off, bump, came to a stop literally on it. And then it came back and tapped it again. So no matter what happens, if you're looking for a new entry, if you have fresh fiat, if you're looking for a margin long, the smartest, like the biggest edge I think you've got is at or below the 20 weekly. Anywhere else, in my opinion, is just a gamble. Unless there's something else that is as clear as this, going back through literally every bull run as this is. Good time to cover the idea of limit buys. You think you have no chance in hell. Okay. I'll do that here in just a second. Let me catch up on chat. Buck Rogers, then 1 Bitcoin was 1 ounce of gold. Now 1 Bitcoin is 10 ounces of gold. That's a great point. That's really funny. Isn't the next challenge is the market cap of gold, right? Isn't that the deal? Which is, I forget what it is now. Market cap of gold. 9 trillion, yeah. So that's like, people are like, I mean, we're looking way in the future there, but hey, it's a target. Dropped down to 200 or so. It dropped, it was a 40% drop from like the peak. Yeah, 37%, and it fell to about 730 bucks. So from 1200 to 7, so it was, what is that, like 450, 500 bucks, something like that. Same with the COVID sell-off. See, and here's where I think the COVID sell-off is what I anticipate. If something goes different this time, like if this does not happen, I think COVID will be to blame, because we've removed so many weak hands with this move that would have sold or taken profit up there. They were just like, nope, fuck it, I'm out. I'm done. I'm gone. That I think this sell-off is affecting what we're seeing now. So I'm a big believer in that. I still believe we're going to get some kind of sell signal relatively soon. But the fact that we're within, what percent away are we from right now from the prior all-time high? And we've just floated here for what, like a week? We're 7% away and we're not falling. Like we're not just 40% to the downside. Like, this is crazy. Might be thinking 2014. Yeah, so you're talking about the very first time, Bucky. The first time we hit 1,200 bucks with the Willy bot and all that stuff. And then from there, it fell all the way to 200 where macro accumulated. Yeah, this was during the great failed experiment. That's what they would call, that's how they would refer to it. The failed experiment. So guy I've been teaching started doing that and got Litecoin at 78 bucks today with a limit buy. Lowest price on Coinbase was 78. Okay, so this is a great call. Alka is talking about limit buys and limit sells, and market buys and market sells. So let's take a look at daily candles. Let's look at something I haven't really messed around with. So he was talking about Litecoin. This is actually a pretty decent thing to look at. So let's say you make the decision, I am going to enter this asset and I'm going to deploy X amount of dollars. And you know that. You know those two variables, right? You're picking your target and you're picking how much money you're going to put into it. The next question is, at what price point are you going to enter? Are you going to slam the market buy? Or are you going to be a little more nuanced about it? For some people, they prefer to do several market buys over multiple days or even multiple weeks. And like, say they enjoyed Litecoin, the chart. And because they saw the way that it was in this pattern and they believed that this concentration was a suggestion that it was about to break out. So what they would do is over the final, like, let's go to the weekly here. And they would say, okay, in these final weeks, I'm going to have one entry every week. And so that would give them a couple entries up there, maybe one during that sell-off, a couple down in here, one in there. And so their average was around $50. Like if you took all these points, and then now they're riding the uptrend and they don't really care what's happening because they've averaged in nicely. But a lot of people now who want to FOMO in, they are like, look, no, I don't have weeks here. I don't have weeks. I want to actually get in. So, okay, let's look at the hourlies. And you can do the same thing. You can average in over a period of hours and it'll give you a nice kind of average if you believe something to be in like a true uptrend. So maybe you're bought in here, but then you bought some in there and you bought some in there and you bought some in there. And now you've kind of averaged yourself together. Now, what Alka was talking about is setting limit buys. And a limit buy is you look at a chart and you say, look, I understand the mechanics of a market, that they're building stairs. They break up, they tend to come back. They break up, they tend to come back. So maybe I could set some limit orders, on each of these successive levels. And even if I miss this, like I want to FOMO in up here, but I'm going to wait and set a limit order down here. And lo and behold, the price comes back at some point and touches it. And now you're in. Okay, so this is the idea. So thanks for the follow, Ed Ted Zed. That's a hell of a name. Nice. So if you were looking at Litecoin and you saw something like this, you could conceivably do the same thing. So again, let's draw our stair steps here. All right, our here. So if you were looking at this and you were it depends on like at what point you're picking up the conversation. So like imagine we're like up in here. So Litecoin is $85 at the time, but you know that the last level was way down in here. So you could say, okay, well look, the highest it got was 77, $78, but I don't know that it's going to break these lows of 80. It could. So I'm just going to do some YOLO buys. I'm going to stagger them. I have $1,000 or whatever. And I'm going to stagger like 3 buys at 79, 78, and 77. And there, if it falls, then I've averaged in at 78. And so, time goes on and lo and behold, holy shit, it hit like 2 of the 3 or whatever. Because you were smart to see that there was a ceiling to the prior trade range, because every asset forms a trade range and it enters the trade range. There's lots of activity, and before it leaves, one way or the other, it could go, leave to the upside, leave to the downside, doesn't matter. But buyers and sellers trade hands, and what you're banking on is trying to buy one of these lows. So buyers and sellers are fighting, it moves up. Buyers and sellers are fighting, it moves up. Buyers and sellers are fighting. So if you can be the guy to buy somewhere down in these lows, because you've already missed like the previous runs, that's not a bad way to do it. So the guys who do really well with this, I found, are like poker players, where you can remove a lot of your emotion. Most people just FOMO in. They just slam the buy button, and then they're pissed that like they were the guys looking at the 5-minute candles. Let me set this up. Okay, and they're like, oh yeah, price is doing nothing but going up. Oh shit, look, it's breaking new highs. I'm buying up here. Oh yeah, $88. Oh yeah. And then it falls all the way to 78. They're $10 down per Litecoin, whatever that is, 10, 15%. They're way down on their entry, and they're like, fucking, I'm out. This is a scam. I'm selling. And they market sell right there. They're done. and then price rebounds. Okay, because they don't understand how the structure works and what's going on. They're just getting played. It's just like the guys who buy there only to sell down here, and then, you know, price moves on. It's the same idea. So don't be that guy. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm trying to coach you. You know, it's not like I have a crystal ball and I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. I can't, but I can kind of give you an edge and try to help you out as best I can. And that's your edge, is to understand when there's macro breakouts and when there will be buyers and sellers trading around, and how you can hopefully use that to your advantage. Text, I love the roller. Coming in, this is one of my newer emotes. I love it.